My friend Max Lawn survived serving in the IDF in Gaza unscathed, but lost consciousness and suffered a brain injury in Chicago walking to class because he's Jewish. Well, good evening, friends. God bless you. Hope you're doing well on this Monday for our Israel Frontline update. I am Bishop Robert Stearns, coming to you this week from San Diego, California. I'm here at the Legacy Center. So many of you remember the amazing Morris and Teresa Cirillo, an amazing ministry. I met Morris Cirillo in Israel in the early 90s. And I'm here at the Legacy Center, which is the continuation of his ministry that his son David now leads. And it's just incredible to see the legacy of this couple who said yes to God, and they loved Israel, they loved Jerusalem. So if you're ever in San Diego, visit the Legacy Center. We're here this week to talk about what is happening in Israel, and there's a lot of news, folks, for us to catch up on. So get some coffee, get prepared, get awake, get educated, wake up, wake up, wake up. We've got to share the word about the reality of what is happening in Israel and the greater Middle East. Now, April the 2nd, we're going to start right off with a doozy. April the 2nd, Hamas quietly removed the names of thousands and thousands of Palestinians off of its March 2025 casualty update. Previously, Hamas had claimed that 70% of the war deaths were women and children. Hamas then has now revised these numbers. I'm sure you saw this in all the headlines on CNN and the New York Times, he said sarcastically. Hamas now says that 72% of the fatalities were not women and children. They were men ages 14 to 55, which is the exact demographic of the soldiers that Hamas is recruiting and using. So Hamas, this is Hamas adjusting their statistics, saying that 72% were not children who were killed, but they were indeed men ages 14. So sad that Hamas has brainwashed 14-year-olds and uses them in war, but they do, we know this. 14 to 55-year-old men. This is exactly the demographic that Hamas uses. And the report said by the Jackson Society that got this out, these lists are so unreliable that the world's media should not be quoting them as fact or as truth. Now, when I heard this, immediately my mind went to, because I'm always thinking, all right, there's the war in the natural, but the war in the natural is always instigated and is also happening in the space above us. It's happening in the metaphysical world, in the spiritual world. And one of the names that the Bible gives to the enemy, Satan, the devil, however you want to caricaturize, but one of the names that I think is so powerful is the Bible calls the enemy the accuser of the brethren. In other words, the spirit of accusation. And I want to tell you, it seems to me, does it seem this way to you, that accusation is running rampant in our world? Somehow the internet has just given everyone the ability to accuse things left and right and put out their own facts, and immediately it's out there. Winston Churchill said, a rumor can travel halfway around the world before the truth has had a chance to get out of bed. And so you look at what is happening. You look at the kinds of accusations that are made against Israel. And then you say, well, let's look at the facts. And here it is. Amazingly, Hamas, and I will get to the bottom of this, we'll figure out why they had to revise these statistics. Obviously, someone somewhere stumbled on the truth, and Hamas had to, because they certainly didn't do it out of goodwill. But Hamas had to adjust these statistics. I want to tell you, beware of just believing every negative report that comes down the pike. You've got to be discerning in these days. You have to be thoughtful in these days. There is so much anger flying around the internet. There is so much toxicity, so much anger. Folks, practice kindness. Practice having an open heart. Practice questioning accusation. I had dinner 3 weeks ago with a lovely couple. Very left-wing, extremely liberal, extremely left-wing, lovely people, kind, educated, wonderful people. But the lady began just ranting about all the things that evangelicals wanted to do in America. Evangelicals want to do this, and evangelicals want to do that, and this and that and the other. And I said to her, can I ask you a question? Have you ever had a conversation with an evangelical? And she said, no. I said, so I'm the first evangelical you're meeting? She said, yeah. I said, and I'm the first evangelical pastor you're meeting? She said, yeah. And so I said, well, could we go through this list of things? Because she started saying evangelicals wanted to close down mosques, and we wanted to take away this, all these, and I said, I don't know a single reputable evangelical leader in America who does not believe that there should absolutely be freedom of religion in America. That is what makes this nation great. You have the freedom to practice your religion or the freedom to practice no religion whatsoever. And I said, I don't know any reputable, credible, mainstream evangelical leader who's trying to shut down this religion or shut down that religion. I said, we stand against extremism, and we should stand against extremism in any form. If that extremism is Islamic or Christian or Jewish or Hindu or atheist, extremism in any form should be resisted because it's dangerous. Folks, this is not rocket science. And I worked hard at this. I couldn't enjoy the dinner. It was at such a nice restaurant. It was at a really good restaurant. I couldn't enjoy my dinner at all because I had to just line by line walk through with this very nice lady, but extremely misinformed about who evangelicals are and what they believe in. So the point is, Hamas has completely changed their tune. You're not going to hear about it probably anywhere but here. You're not going to hear it on CNN. You're not going to hear it on BBC, but you're hearing it here. Don't listen to accusation. Get the truth and facts for yourself. That's why right now you should be subscribing, liking, forwarding, clicking all the buttons, the notifications, and helping us out in every way you can. Also on April 2nd, and this caught my attention because I know this person personally. Jewish DePaul University students sue DePaul University over alleged anti-Semitic attack. I have personally met one of these two students. Max Lawn, one of the alleged victims, was served in the IDF during the October 7th massacre. He was speaking with classmates on an American university when he was surrounded and attacked. Can you please get this in your head? This is a Jewish student who was in Israel on October 7th, served in the IDF, was on the front lines of the battle, uninjured, and he's walking to class at DePaul University and is attacked, is struck unconscious, and suffered a brain injury. And I know Max, and he's an amazing young man, an incredible young man. I was just with him in Dallas. The attorney for the students stated, DePaul University has done nothing to put a stop to this harassment, nor have they made any genuine effort since the attack to ensure the safety of their Jewish students moving forward. My friend Max said this, I shouldn't feel more vulnerable in a classroom in Chicago than I did in the combat zone in Gaza. Mic drop. Folks, please. Christians, are you there? Hello? Are you there? Please wake up. Please wake up. We are in a dire moment in American history, but we can turn the tide. We can turn it around if we act now. My friend Max Lawn survived serving in the IDF in Gaza unscathed, but lost consciousness and suffered a brain injury in Chicago, walking to class because he's Jewish. April 6th, Hamas launched 6 more rockets at Israel from the Gaza Strip. Did you hear about it in the mainstream media? Nope. 6 more rockets launched from Hamas. Why does Israel not do the ceasefire? Why does Israel not stop? Hamas is not driven by sanity. There are people in this world who present as sane, who present as in charge of their faculties, but they are brainwashed and they are crazy and they will not stop until they are stopped. They will not stop until they are stopped. And Israel has to put a stop to the cancerous spread of radicalized Islamic ideology manifesting through the Houthis, through Hezbollah, and through Hamas, based in Qatar and Iran. And these are the people that are funding textbooks across America and resulting in unsafe spaces in DePaul University, allegedly in Chicago. They keep telling me to say allegedly every 30 seconds, no matter what. So I'm going to just keep saying allegedly. All right, President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu have a surprise summit in Washington, D.C. This was unscheduled. It's Netanyahu's second visit in 2 months. It was surprising because this also amazed me. It was surprising because it was expected that they would announce, or that we would announce an attack on Iran. This is what President Trump stated. Trump stated that America will have direct talks with Iran and that they have started. Trump added that doing a deal with Iran would be preferable. Can I just say this? And listen, I have made it very clear. We are completely bipartisan in our approach to all of these issues. There are fantastic people in the Democratic Party. There are fantastic people in the Republican Party. And there are schmucks in both. Okay? Stop thinking that salvation comes from a political party. It's not true. But I want to say this, and if this was a Democratic president, I would say the same thing. You have to give the administration credit. Everyone said he would come in as a warmonger. Everyone said he would come in. What is he doing? He is instituting what he said, peace through strength. He's not afraid to go to war. He's not afraid to go to battle, but he is counterintuitively. There's plenty on the right. I think we got to deal with Iran. There's plenty on the right who would say deal with Iran. But this is Trump's way. He tries to negotiate whenever possible. And that's what he's doing here. He did state that if these talks are unsuccessful, Iran would be in great... Listen, I'm sorry I'm interrupting, but this is what he's doing with Ukraine. He said, listen, we've got to put a stop to this war. How many people are going to die? How long is this war going to go on? Trump stated that if the talks are unsuccessful, Iran would be in great danger. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, and if the talks are not successful, it will be a very bad day for Iran. Folks, thank you for tuning in. Get involved, become a partner with Eagles Wings, get your church involved. Take a stand on the right side of history. It is a moment to become educated, involved, active in the great fight for the salvation of Judeo-Christian culture, of Western civilization, All of that stems around this tiny country of Israel and this amazing city called Jerusalem. Keep praying, keep working, keep speaking out for the peace of Jerusalem and of all of her beautiful inhabitants. God bless you. I'll see you next week on Israel Frontline Update.